What's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today we're here with Markus Cantarsi, his first tournament in a long time. Thank you, COVID. Markus, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Yeah, it's been a long time, about a year and a half now playing. It was really fun coming back to it, playing at a high-level event. And I had a great time playing here. Made top 8 with Baby today. I had a lot of fun playing.
Top 8, 111 players. Excellent job. Me personally, I don't think Baby is totally your playstyle, but you really wanted to play it. So talk about why you wanted to play it.
Yeah, I'm actually very accustomed to like the aggro style decks, where I just go in, extend my plays and win big time. But with Baby, it kind of felt the total opposite, where I could extend my plays defensively big time. And I really like being in control, being able to always react to something you do. And I think Disruption is really good in Dragon Ball, and eventually build up to a point where I make my big power play and win the game. So that's why I went for it.
Gotcha. And this is not your typical Blue Baby deck. This is like Blue Baby Mill with some really crazy side deck stuff. We'll see as we get into the profile. Let's get into it.
All right, so before we start, I do want to shout out Brian Samuel, because he did give me the
It's
template.
always Brian Samuel.
Yeah, Brian Samuel is a great player, and he gave me the ingredients, but I added the spice to the deck, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and start. Obviously, Baby Leader with 1 Planet Tuffle. Planet Tuffle lets you counter much easier for 1 energy less, and lets you play the whole entire control game. Alright, now to the staples. I went with the Baby Unison.
Yeah, you were very conflicted on Unison. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I was debating whether the Baby Unison or the Gogeta Unison, but I eventually went with something that gives me more draw power and has the effect to -5, give my leader inherent 15k. Also lets me play this guy for free. So this is kind of my Unison package all together here. I played 3 God Sealing Technique. Although it is a great counter card, in today's meta it's just not as commonly used. I need to get to turn 3 to activate my God Sealing, and with the amount of cards I draw with my deck, I usually see 1 of each anyway. So.
And your leader can search for it, so.
Right, so I felt very comfortable playing 3/3 instead of the usual 4/4. By playing 3/3, I get to have more space in my deck, which increases my ceiling against all matchups. So I went with a very kind of risky. I know you guys are not a big fan of it. You love 4-0s and consistency, but I had no problems with this ratio.
Markus likes to live life on the edge.
I do.
That's for sure.
Okay, so I will go ahead and put these here. Then we have obviously the 4 super combos.
Yeah, so why this over like Zamasu or Zeno?
So even though Zamasu is really good against decks like Reboot Gohan, maybe Mecha, decks that go wide and stuff, it's just you're always playing a counter card. You're always playing a counter negate, so you're not getting to the combo step very often. And if I do, I don't mind drawing more. So I think drawing is really good in this deck. Your hand size is eventually going to go down because of all the counters you use, but with the super combo to draw, you kind of keep your hand size pretty high. So moving on, the main engine of the deck. I'm going to go ahead and put these together. 4 Revenge Big Bang and 4 D-Magic. These guys are just your utility. Imagine a combo card that just said, you combo it once and you stop any attack, and that's what these guys are. They're just a 1 card negate that just stops the attack. Any 30k, you stop it. Any alliance effect, you just negate. And the best part about Revenge Big Bang is you untap 2 energy for 1, so you get to go up an energy, and you get to draw a card, so you're cycling, which is great. D-Magic, on the other hand, it lets you tap out and potentially self-awaken and get back 2 energy. So you could play D-Magic into this next card, which is really good. Heroic Prospects Trunks. Trunks is a really good card against Dark Broly, although it is weak against some other matchups. And because of that, we also play 4 of these guys. So these Gohans are really good against Launch, King Piccolo. They make you pitch 1 card or bottom deck 1 card no matter what the attack is, whereas Hero Prospects makes you bottom deck 2 cards if it's a big boy attack. So between cycling and playing your energy perfectly, you could leave 1 open, negate 1 attack with Revenge Big Bang, then you could pay 2 for Gohan, then you could D-Magic, untap 2 and play another Gohan or something. You could do so many different lines of plays I liked it a lot.
How often do people take the challenge of Gohan, like trying to kill you through it? Any times? Or?
All the time. People would, once it gets to a certain part of the game, they'll be like, how many cards do you have in your hand? And I say, 10, and they have 12. They'll just go through and they'll swing and bottom deck cards. But every time they swing, I would just revenge Big Bang. So I'm still at the same hand size, and I just negate an attack. You literally make them -1 for no reason when that play happens. And a lot of players do like to get greedy, especially when they're going for game. So on top of these negates, I also played with 2 Bola servants. I know some people like to play 4 because of the servant effect with your leader, but I opted for 2. That was the only space I could make for it, and I liked it. I did test 4 out, and it did feel a little too much, but 2 worked out really well for me. So I played with 6 servants total between the Gohans and the Bolas, and you really want to use one every turn, one or the other every turn, so that when it comes back to your turn, you could swing with them and then bottom deck them, draw a card, and then hopefully get them back to your hand again and repeat the same process. Then I go to my counter plays. I played 2 Baby Diabolical Parasite and 2, going off edge here a little bit, but Hit Deadly Vanguard. Both are very similar. They both require you to have 2 energy up when you play the counter play. Baby lets you restand one of the energies and bottom deck a 4 energy costed card, whereas Hit sends back a 5 energy costed card to their hand and 1 5 energy cost or less on the board back to their hand. So the 2 different situations. This is great against Yellow, Raider's Warcry, King Piccolo, or Launch when they play the Piccolo, bottom deck any type of threat. This is great for that. Hit is great against more like Vegex, where they play Demigra on you, the overwhelm 5-costed Demigra. Possibly Dark Brawler, if they played a Heartfelt Plea combo on you, you just bounce it back to their hand and end the threat that way. So depending on matchup, you will mulligan for one or the other. 2-2 was once again a good split for me. I was pretty happy with it.
Gotcha.
So you see all these counter cards, and now you're like, well, how do I win the game, right? We gotta have a plan to win the game. Well, I still like my Marichums.
The milk drinking boy.
And my Obunis.
Yes.
There's lots of 2-ofs in this deck because you pick your poison based on matchups. If I'm playing against green, I like Marichum because if they dormant potential me, the 25k double striker is still going through. If I play against green, Obuni sucks, right? Because if they dormant potential, they wipe all your tokens, so you don't want that. But against blue, it's really good. I also find Obuni really good against launch, where that extra wide board and the extra combo power, if I want, comes in really clutch. But on top of all this, then we have the real spice and amazing game ender.
Oh boy, okay, we gotta talk about this, all right.
Rebirth of Justice into what?
What is the main boy?
Frieza.
Frieza. Red, blue, Frieza. Okay.
Yes.
Talk us through this.
All right, so like I said, Brian Samuel gave me the ingredients, and I added this little spice right here because I was thinking to myself, well, I need some sort of power play, and what if they play all these one-drop baby counters on me, right? And I just kind of idea clicked in my head. Wait, I could rebirth into Frieza, swing with Frieza, and wipe their whole entire board, which is something blue struggles with. Removing their board is something that blue just cannot do, but Frieza can. So I would go ahead and against King Piccolo launch, it's in my opinion, an auto winner because those decks love to draw and they love to put out a board, and you play Rebirth and they can't interact with it. They have no counterplays to interact with it. So then you just swing with the Frieza first, you wipe their whole board, and they mill 2 cards for each battle card. And so on top of drawing a lot, those decks eventually just mill out. It's a super easy mill option. Against launch, I don't see myself losing at all. Against King Piccolo, same thing. They will mill out.
The unfortunate thing is we didn't play against any of those decks.
Yes, so that is the unfortunate thing. In testing, it was great, but here today at the tournament, I didn't play against any red deck, which is what I was expecting the most. But a cool thing with Rebirth is you could play any 5 or less blue battle cards. So that means if I really want to play Rebirth, I could play the Baby Ape on 4, or I could just play Rebirth, wait for a response, and encounter window 1. If they play like a Trunks on me, I'll just play Obuni instead, and they waste their Trunks. So you could play options like that. If I play Rebirth, they're gonna counterplay Frieza. All right, I'll play my barrier Marichum instead. So it gives you that option, it gives you that opportunity for your opponent to make a misplay, and that's what you want when playing Giant Wall.
All right, next up, I think we have a bunch of 1-0s coming up. Let's check it out. Oh, not
almost yet. One last thing is 3 Senzu Beans. I thought these were really good, but after playing this weekend, I would say you could potentially cut out the Senzu Beans. It doesn't seem that great in this format, although it is good against some certain decks. I think you could cut them out for different stuff. But yes, we will get into the 1-0s, which is something that I also really enjoy. So this deck, as good as it is, as much as I like it, there are answers to it. Number one answer being, right here.
Yeah, that's fine, that works.
Is the 1-drop barrier cards that kind of kill your deck, right? We see them come out in Dropbox 5, I think,
yep.
And everybody plays them, everybody sides deck them. So I mainboard one of Kami's just in case. A lot of people don't see it coming. A lot of people think Kami is a sideboard card, but it's still a draw 1, and it could kind of steal games if your opponent doesn't expect it. I remember in testing, I played against Mecha Frieza, and they brought out Planet, searched for their 1-drop barrier guide, played it, and then they went wide with Raiders, Warcries, and Bergamos, and they even played Son Goku Annihilation, but then I just played Kami, wiped the board. On top of Kami, you still have your Frieza Rebirth package to wipe the boards as well. So 1-of was really good for me. I liked it. Another 1-of is Mafuba. In this deck, it's only 1 energy, and a card that kind of hurts you is Demigra. The overall Demigra is pretty good. But I thought Mafuba was really good against Heartfelt Plea, Demigra, Sin Shenron, any type of barrier big guy that you just want off the board. Lord Slug that doesn't let you draw, you can Mafuba them on turn 2. And then by the time Mafuba comes off, you could still Rebirth Frieza and just get rid of the threats. So it kind of stalls the game a little bit for you, gives you time to recuperate from that battle card that's going to give you trouble later. Then we have the 1-of Kai with one of my favorite staples of all time, Mira.
The Markus staple, yes.
Yes, I thought, Baby is all this defensive deck, which is great. Once again, nobody sees this coming, right? And potentially with the Ape and your Unison making the Ape free, we got the Battering days coming back.
Every format, we're doing this later turns. First it was Battering, then it was Cooler with Broly, now it's turn 6.
That's very true, but it's just such a powerful combo. I actually played against a Baby Mirror match, and I did this whole entire combo per game. Ironically, he Battering, he babied my Baby Ape.
He baby countered, yes. But, that was so funny.
But it would have been really great. I still think this is good because if you defend everything with all your negates, eventually you run out of a hand, but then it doesn't matter what your hand size is, this is 2 damage, infinite power. Then we have the Baby Hatch, of course, staple, best secret rare in the game. I don't even have to talk about it. It literally gives you another turn. You want to save off using him as much as you can. I played against Reboot Gohan, won me the game twice, just they do their leader effect. All right, Hatch, game over. I played against Blue Baby, great. When you play against any deck that plays a Kai Secret Rare, something you want to do is you want to hold off using Hatch for as long as you can, because you don't want to Hatch, and then on your turn they play the Kai Secret Rare and then just warp away your whole board. So the later you could use him, the better he is. Then the 1-of Dark Banisher Fu, another overwhelm option, so I have 2 with my Mira and the Dark Banishers. Great against Dark Broly. If you can get there and you play it, it could win you the game. I thought it was really good. Although I didn't get to play it against Dark Broly because I was playing behind the whole time. Still, it's a very, very powerful card. Then this 1-of Son Gohan and Piccolo. This one, you just pay 1 blue and you get to bottom deck 2 battle cards with an energy cost 3 or less. So very versatile effect. If the Vegex plays those 1-drop Gokus, I believe, that don't have barrier, you could just pitch 1 blue and bottom deck 2 of them. It came up in the mirror match where they would Gohan and Baby me, and I would just pitch this, bottom deck both of them. Gets me free value, so I thought it was really good.
Yes.
So this deck overall, it's actually kind of weak in the mirror match, so I main boarded
oh my goodness.
one of these, just in case I play against the mirror match and they play Turning the Tide on me. They would never see this card coming in the main board, and then it would auto win me that game. So if I go against Baby, they win the dice roll, and they opt for the turn 7 Turning the Tide, I counterplay with this, and they wipe away their hand, but I don't wipe away mine, and it's just over. So that's it for the main board.
Let's take a quick look at the side deck.
All right, for the sideboard, now based on matchups, I like to sideboard and increase my ratios. So if against pretty much every deck, I added the extra Kami in because I knew they were going to side in the silver bullets. So I played an extra Kami. Extra Obuni against decks that Obuni is better than Murichim. I want to go with Obuni, so that was for that. 2 UI Kamehamehas, I thought it was really good. It was good against Dark Brawly, good against Green Gohan. It's a 1 energy, 15k power for free. And I actually want to play this against Invoker to pump up my attacks with my leader swing, where it costs me no hand size, and my leader becomes a 30k swing, which is tough for Invoker to deal with. I thought they would be good against Invoker, which is one of my hardest matchups. Max Power Kamehameha, good against Vegex maybe if they play Demigra. Just any type of deck where they're playing a high cost battle card, cheating it out. Really good. And also an extra negate. Extra Dark Banisher Fu against the Dark Brawly matchup. You want 2 of them, just in case. You want to always be able to play it against them. So that was for that matchup. Mirror match, Fu Shrouded, I thought was really good, but it's so risky playing in a mirror match. If they have their Unison up, you really don't want to play it. It's too scary. So I actually didn't play him at all weekend. Then we have one more Frieza and one more Rebirth. In case I play against some matchups where it's really good, I will increase my ratios. So a lot of times, if it was against a deck where Rebirth Frieza is bad, I side him out. That's 4 cards that I get to side out and 4 cards I get to bring back in. Decks where this combo is good, I would bring him in and side out other stuff. So that worked out really well. Extra Mafuba, great card, we know what it does. 2 Meteor, in case I play against Red Brawly, I wanted more attackers if I need to flood the board with my negates and get that offensive power. Really good card. I actually main 4 at one point, but just took him out. This one baby, I thought it would be good in a mirror match, but it actually wasn't. It's really cool because you get to play a battle card from the bottom of your deck, so it's free value all the time, but it's very hard for it to stick. Dark Brawly is going to warp it away. I don't know what it's good for. You could probably take this one out. Dirty Burst, good card against Cell Xeno based decks. If they go Cell Xeno on you, you just counter with this. If they cooler this, then that means you could most likely Sparking D-Magic, which is good. So I like Dirty Burst a lot against Invoker and Cell Xeno. It stops them from attacking. Good in mirror match too against the Fu Shrouded. And lastly, one result of training.
Oh my goodness, why?
Well, Invoker is a really hard matchup, and I thought, you know what, it'd be kind of cool if I could stay at 8 life and then on 5 I result of training Awaken and just continue, staying at 8 life. Invoker is a very hard matchup for this deck. I still don't know how to beat it. Luckily I didn't play against any of them, but yeah.
Gotcha. So overall, that's the deck, Marcus. Very interesting. I think it's a very creative take on it. Any final shout outs you want to get out there?
Shout outs to Crossbow TCG, our team, and check me out on Twitch streaming, twitch.tv/EmperorCouscous. I'll be streaming weekdays, gonna get back into it, so I'll see you guys there.
Sounds good. See you next time.
See ya.